Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the show. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Shadows and Sun show. Today, Today we're going to be painting again.
That's right, folks. Tonight we're still working on the Bronze Age miniatures, the Thoat and the Thark that rides them. As you can see, for the first time in the show's history, I'm a little farther ahead than the little guy, but I've had a lot of help with inspiration.
And I've been
from busy. I've had a lot of inspiration from the Table Breakers, Max's Legion of Myths show, and the Gatekeepers, because every time I'm on one of their shows, I see Bruce painting like a madman, so I got to paint too, and it's actually been really helpful because normally after dinner, I really want to paint, but sometimes stuff gets in the way, so I'm a little bit ahead of him, and he's rushing to catch up, but like I said before, these are such complicated models. We'll probably stretch this show to maybe one more Sunday, depending on how things go this month. We're still only about halfway through. I've already given everything a wash of either Army Painter green, not the military shader, but the other green that he's using, or the soft tone. I did it on basically everything that wasn't green. I gave a soft tone wash. And normally at this stage we would be jumping on dry brushing. He probably won't get to that tonight.
No, I won't.
But I will
take this as an opportunity to paint
the Martian.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Because I haven't done that much of that yet.
Yeah. He just did the green skin tone. I've done a little bit more, but I still need to do some actual base colors on him, even though I did hit him up with a green and soft tone wash as well. But tonight I'm going to be focusing on the big lizard because, as I told you guys last week, they're really not supposed to be green, according to the lore. They're gray. Yeah, they're green, and their feet and legs are yellow. So I'm going to be using. Where did I put that? I'm going to start with a dry brush of Vallejo's Desert Yellow, and then Moon Dust Yellow to lighten it up, and then I'm going to give them kind of not an overbrush, but a medium dry brush of neutral gray, and then hit that up again with what is this? Sky gray. Both these colors are actually new to my collection, so I'm interested.
What's the skin color for this guy?
It's green.
It's green?
Yeah, no, sorry. It's that green.
I knew it was green. I just didn't think
I thought I just thought you had gotten it all, but then I see you didn't get his face. Make sure you water that down just a little bit, and then you might have to do 2 coats, but it's better to do a watered down coat and then go back to it if you need a second coat, because with the finer details on the humanoids and smaller miniatures like that, most experts will tell you to do 2 coats. But I would preface that with make the first coat watered down, and maybe even the second coat watered down. You'll get a more even coat, but you'll obscure less detail because the water will evaporate like crazy, especially where we live. So I'm going to get right to the yellow on the legs, just because I'm really not certain how it's going to look. And with these big miniatures, we've been having to hold them by the tail or by the saddle just to be able to manipulate them so that we're not touching some of the other areas. So I'm going to go with the feet first. That way, while they're drying, I can still work on the gray. So, how was your Easter so far?
Good.
Yeah? Have a lot of fun at church this morning?
Yes. I mean,
I know a lot of people don't consider that actually fun, but we try to look at it as that, because if you don't, then that's one of the things that leads to not going.
Wait, is his mouth open?
Partially, probably, because his tusks are probably sticking out. I don't know if those are actually coming out of the mouth, though, now that I think about it. Maybe I misspoke.
No, you didn't misspoke. You didn't misspeak. You were just
wrong. Did you feel the love tonight, folks?
I'm tired. I'm not necessarily tired. I'm just
Yeah. he actually rode his bike quite a bit this afternoon when he got back.
Not as much as I should have, but I consider anything less than 10 to be not enough.
Right. And I spent a good, nice 4 hours over on Bruce Lombardo's channel this evening. That was another awesome experience. A lot of great guys there. And then, of course, this morning was Max's show. That was actually a very good show. I really liked the way he covered the Heroes Unlimited Combat. Even for a guy who's played Palladium and Rifts, it was nice to see a little bit more objective view on combat. I tend to rush through combat and skip some things that maybe I shouldn't, just for expedience sake. Especially, Palladium's a rough game, especially when you've got more than 4 players, which I often had. And so I would cut things out or make things simple, not telling the players I'm cutting things out, just make it seem simpler. Sometimes the art of refereeing and game mastering is like a stage magician where you have to use some sleight of hand. Not saying fudging die rolls, just not telling them everything that you're doing or what you're rolling for, or what rules you're using or not using. Keeping them in suspense, and they don't need to know everything. Not saying treat them like a mushroom, but just keep those illusions alive as long as you can. I already like the look of that.
Oh, yes.
But I'm definitely going to lighten it up a little.
Definitely.
I mean, I could leave it like this, and it would look good.
Oh, I think I might just have bent his sword.
But I think if I did that, it wouldn't be as accurate to the lore. And speaking of Bronze Age miniatures, I spoke with Dave this morning, and I believe he's working on some new miniatures. So those fans out there of Bronze Age miniatures, I know Bruce and Cal and someone else. I think it was Travis or Shadzar, maybe. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting, but you guys all seem to really like what Bronze Age has going on, and I got to tell you, in the way of the few companies that still make metal miniatures that aren't just recasts, they're some of the best. Dave is a true artist when it comes to making miniatures, and I hope you guys will all check those out because they are just absolutely gorgeous miniatures. What you need?
Just to move the picture.
Oh, okay.
It's been over there for too long. Okay, what other colors are on this? Not the colors, I mean what paints?
On
The ropes.
the what?
That part.
Oh, I used orange the same.
What orange?
I used this orange right. Oh, where'd it go?
Wait, didn't you? No, we didn't. Yeah, we used.
No, that's dry rust. I think it's actually over there.
Well, one of these?
No. First I used a base coat of something like.
So I want them to be the same.
I think I'm missing an orange though. That's the problem. Is that the one that's tipped over here?
That's a red.
Okay, then. Because you.
Wait, is it a red? Yeah, that's right.
Then I'm gonna go with molten orange then, but I'm pretty sure it was mythical orange. Lava orange. No, it was definitely not mythical.
Okay.
But because he also Poketool.
Yes.
He is wearing a cape in addition to.
And I'll probably paint it with red contrast.
Oh, you're kidding me.
What?
The
Poketool.
If not, there's one in that container. Just pull the whole thing. Oh wait, no, that's not it. Sorry, folks. No, a toothpick will just snap in the middle of the bottle.
Oh.
But I'm pretty sure the other one's in your orange cup over there. Which is really weird. Normally I'm a little better organized, and I thought they were in this pile of...
I don't believe so. Perhaps.
Yeah, I see it down here at the bottom.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
And for a pokey tool, we just use this sort of knitting or crocheting needle. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but it's a nice pointy metal spike.
Yeah, it works well enough. Just needs to be cleaned on.
With
water. Where's the accent? Oh, didn't work.
Okay.
Yeah, you do suppose you have to go really deep though.
Yeah, I just use my fingernails. So.
No, I mean to get the paint to just want.
That's really weird. Okay, so now I'm going to use...
It's there.
While the feet dry, I'm going to go ahead and use some...
Yeah, that's weird.
What did I say this was again? Neutral gray. And hopefully you'll be able to get that onto the feet before all that dries and wastes. If not, it's not a big deal.
Okay, it's kind of difficult to...
You need some
to differentiate between the two.
Yeah, because like I said, he's wearing a cape. I'm pretty sure he's
Yeah.
wearing a cape and a loincloth or skirt, whatever you want to call it.
Kind of both.
Do I have a better brush? I don't want to use that brush. Because one of these makeup brushes, I took them and I thought they'd be okay, but they're just a little bit too wide for the dry brushing. You know, let's just see if I can do it. I'll just use the white one so I can see where the paint is. That's one of the things I like about white paintbrushes versus, you know, black or gray or brown, is you can actually see where the paint is on the brush. And then, if you haven't seen this before, we have this little trick we like where we, instead of wiping the paint off on the napkin, which I will do in just a moment, but first we scrape off, literally scrape off as much paint off the brush as possible. Then go here, because that paint that I scraped off, I might be able to recycle, but if not, it just pulls off more, because when you're dry brushing, the last thing you want to do is not take off enough paint off your brush, and then you end up making a huge mistake by dry brushing and it not being a dry brush, it being more like an overbrush, and then you're stuck with too much paint where you don't want it. And also, a lot of people, you know, you'll see them dry brushing and they're just at the very beginning, just go lightly, because it's always better to use too little paint than too much. I'm also going to leave some of the underside, the underbelly green. What do you think?
Sure.
Just to keep it kind of what we were talking about.
I thought that my eyes were good.
Let's see, you can already see that the gray is showing up, but the green is still there, and I want that just a little bit of green, just because, you know, the movies, you know, sorry, but the movies, I was watching or looking at some scenes from the movies this week, and they're green in the movies. They really...
I mean, you could just do that.
Yeah, but...
the lore?
Yeah.
You sound like me in the comments of Resurrection.
Is that a bad thing, or...?
Kind of. Depends
Okay.
It depends on your point of view.
Okay, well, I'm your dad, and how about that point of view?
Still don't know.
Okay, see that looks more dinosauric, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And you can still see a little bit of that green coming through, and then...
Yes.
When I go back over it after I redo the feet, a little trouble getting in that one area. I'll just go back. Yeah, this technique of scraping doesn't work with really small brushes. You're just wasting your time. You'll either take off too much paint or literally all of the paint. But, you know, as you can see, I didn't get that much on the brush. And that's really what you want at first. You know, if you're doing terrain, you know, and you're just doing that, you know, that basic gray over black everything,
then
yeah, you don't have to be so fastidious about it. But
however, when you are,
yeah. You know what? I think I went with the right decision.
you agree?
Yeah, I you know,
That does look good.
it actually just looks more realistic. You know, the bright green. You know, the Martians are green. The things they ride are green. Yeah, I think I'm gonna.
I mean, they're not fully gray yet.
No, but just
Something tells me they won't be.
No. I'm gonna be very careful to leave some green. I might even leave a little bit more green on the face, just to give them that little. You know.
I mean, because in the other thing, they are in fact.
Green.
No, they are in fact all green. I mean, all gray.
Yeah. In the comic book cover.
Yes, comic book cover. That's what I was talking about.
Well, I'm reading, you know, another John Carter.
I'm just having trouble doing anything aside from painting, I suppose. Even then, I mean, this is a lot easier. Not easier. It's a lot more not rushed.
Yeah.
Because the other one, I just wanted to try to get it done as much as possible before we started, because I was really busy this week and couldn't get much done.
Well, it looks good.
I mean, I didn't get much done. Correction, I didn't get much done.
As in, he still has some homework left, folks.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. But, yeah. Actually, another correction. I don't think I got anything done. Or at least anything important. I suppose I did do a few things.
No, I'm just trying to be careful not to get any of this gray on the gold and this is leathers and stuff like that, but
I mean, it's not. I mean, on the gold, yeah, but on the leathers and stuff,
it's not going to show as much. But
it's not. Yeah, it's neither going to show nor really harm it in any meaningful way.
Yeah, just when we do the close-ups, I don't want it to, you know, it's amazing. These cameras that we use are really, really powerful when you do things like miniature close-ups, and I've.
Despite the fact that it's not very powerful in anything else.
Yeah, it's just.
It isn't actually that bad.
I've noticed that.
It's been a while since I've seen it on the big screen, so it's hard to remember exactly how good it is. But I don't remember. I mean, again, on the big screen, it's not as detailed. Actually, it is as detailed, which is the problem. Because it's more detailed, because it's bigger, it's expanded. You now see more of it, but it's not necessarily a good thing when the camera quality isn't that good. It's still good on smaller screens, but that's because it's smaller screens, so it's difficult to notice the imperfections of the camera. Also, the imperfections of our work. It's much harder to see on a smaller device. Doesn't mean they're not there. They are very much there.
Yeah, I was sending some photographs of some miniatures to a buddy of mine, and I just used my tablet to take pictures of them, and, you know, I enlarged them, and I'm like, I was very, very shocked at how much I could enlarge them, and I was thinking to myself, God, it's a good thing most of our viewers watch us on their camera. I mean, not their camera, their cell phone or their tablet instead of their.
I suppose those are the same thing nowadays.
Yeah, instead of their PC where they they're going to see our miniatures and they're going to be like this big and all the
Very good.
Yeah, all the flaws are there, but thankfully
That's not the case.
Yeah, a lot of people still use their cell phone or their tablet or something like that, so they're not getting the full effect of all the mistakes. I think it was Uncle Adam who was talking about using your camera or modern modern devices to look at your work, because you can actually get blow it up bigger than the googly eyes that I wear, or your basic reading glasses or painting.
Where's
whatever.
the gold that you used? Thank you.
No problem, buddy. Okay, now let's see how this yellow. I'm hoping that the paint that's already on the brush isn't gonna make it.
Okay, it's really easy to pour out.
Yeah, it's a Vallejo, so it's not.
Yeah, I know.
It's not an army painter.
It's just weird going from multiple Vallejos, which are both not Vallejos, army painters, which aren't very easy to pull out.
Yeah.
To one that is not only easy to pour out, but you pour out too much of it. Oh, that's not good. It's bad.
What do you think? This new yellow over it.
I think you might want to do slightly less so that it's more of a brightening effect instead of a,
Check him out. He's learning.
Because the previous effect looked good, just a bit too dark.
Yeah, and like they were just walking around in sand and got their feet dirty.
Yeah.
Well, it's
so
also...
of course they needed to be brightened, but not too much. Enough to where it actually looks like it's brighter.
Hopefully...
And not just a second coat because you changed your mind on what color you wanted to use.
Yeah, hopefully when this yellow dries, it'll diminish a little bit.
That'll be preferable. Somewhat preferable.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to do that much, though. But I could always...
Hopefully it does. I made that mistake again.
But I'm really loving these miniatures. I hope we can do this good a job next month on the miniatures we're getting, because
Yes.
next month we're going to have another 2-for-1. We're both going to be painting instead of me just rounding my gums.
Like we used to do, which was an incredibly inefficient way of doing it. The way we're doing it right now is just better in general. It's more practical in every single way. Yeah, exactly. You get more work done because we're both working at the same time, so it's much more practical. As well as the actual value is better, considering it's not just someone who doesn't know how to paint painting while someone who doesn't know how to paint talking. But, well...
Just a little bit on there, and then I'm going to wipe it off.
Yeah, I think once I finish this helmet, then I'll call it.
Okay, well, let me finish with this also.
Yeah. Once I'm done.
Okay, pretty sure I started on this side, so this is... It's also a good idea to remember which side you start on when you do something like this, so that you're not sticking your hands into moist paint.
Yes. That's very true.
And I'm just going to do this more almost like an edge highlighting.
I think that's what it should be. It's an edge highlighting. Despite the fact that they were both more visible. Which I find bizarre.
So I'm just going to, what I call, kiss it. Just lightly. And then go on over to this side. And then when it dries, if it's not quite enough, I can do it again. Right there I can see it, but over here I can't. Maybe I do need a little bit more on the brush. In some places I just didn't kiss it hard enough, I guess. There we go.
Oh, how could I have missed that? Oh, now it's no longer missed.
Yeah, that looks better. You can actually see those little...
Yeah. It's a lot of brushes.
It's okay.
Okay, there's... no, I'm just bad at that.
You can see that? Rawr. You did a nice job on that, buddy.
Thank you.
Show the camera. Just leave it on the napkin and maybe you can just turn it and the camera can get a close-up on this guy.
I do need to do not an extra coat, but
A wash.
a few touch-ups on the red.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a few small white spots. I can see one right there.
Alright.
Just because it was still wet and I touched that area, so the paint got off, and I didn't feel like getting another brush or watering down this paint. Which might not affect that very much, but it might. I don't want to take that risk.
Get the brushes out of the way so you get a nice parting shot of...
Oh, you made it blue.
Yeah, actually I did. I used the Vallejo gunmetal blue just to give it a weird alien gun look to it, instead of your typical...
No, I mean that.
Oh, yeah, sword.
I'm definitely going to give him some blue then, because I want them to match as closely as possible.
That's actually the blue contrast.
Yes, it's by far my favorite blue. The only blue that comes close is this blue Expo marker that I have.
Okay. Very nice. So there you have it, folks. That's it for tonight. Hope you guys had a wonderful Easter and a wonderful weekend. We're going to be back Tuesday with a review and then the usual, book and game reviews, and of course a part 2 of our airship craft, which hopefully we're going to throw a little extra your way when it comes to that video.
Yes.
Until then,
Good night.
bye everybody.